Hey guys, thought I'd do a quick tutorial just on a few small changes we've done with the Stream Deck recently. So this is now going to be the default screen. This is mostly for the school to use. To get out of this, you hold down the live stream control for about half a second. And it brings you back to the regular camera screen. So obviously this changes cameras, the toolbox, given a nice little logo there, but nothing really has changed. Multi-view or program, so like these controls, these particular colors will only change what you're monitoring, so it won't change what's actually going to the internet, to the stream. So that will just change between multi-view, which is the screen with all the screens, and program, which will be what is being sent out to the live stream or sent to Facebook, etc. Toggle between camera 1 and camera 2 in full screen. It's pretty self-explanatory. I've moved the end stream button to this page now for convenience. The button is much the same as what it did before. Fades out with the end screen, but now it also ticks on 2 minutes after that point and will fade to black along with fading the audio out, and then it will actually terminate the stream on the Elim. Then you just go along and hit end stream within Facebook. This one we have time, lyrics on and off button like usual. So this actually has a second page within it now, so pressing this gives you a few extra things like camera 3 and 4, which we currently don't use, Android TV or the news, Playout B, which is what we were calling the Hyperdeck, but I renamed to Playout B because that is now the software we're using, the logo on-off button, which we don't actually really need to use because it is initiated on and off with the automation. Welcome and end image, which we aren't really needing to use, but they are there in case one ever does. So to get back to page 1 of camera, you just push that button. See it says to page 2 to page 1. Of course you can always use any of these buttons at any point. Quick update on the automations. Nothing really here has changed, but just a quick note on this button here, news to second out. It used to say like Android TV, but we might be changing that device potentially. The news is probably more appropriate because that's what it's displaying, the church news. So you should always, pressing that will put the news onto the TV in the foyer, etc. It's even if it is already displaying, it's always a good option to press it anyway, because I may include some automations in there as well, potentially. But this basically is the second output of the ATEM Extreme, the main video mixer, and that chooses what goes to those foyer TVs, so that will be sending the news, and this one will be sending the program output. Now these automatically will change to program output with the automation, but for some reason if it hasn't and you want to get what's happening in the church out onto the foyer TV, then that's the button to press, and it should change state by going green. Live stream, nothing's really changed there, apart from I have put a countdown clock, which will show once you press it. At church at least it will. So yeah, the idea is you press your button, wait a couple seconds, and then you can start the stream in the Facebook app. Going like wide, that's still all the same. In stream, like I say, it's the same. Fades out, goes to the end image. Music fades out, fades back into the live stream in music, and then it waits 2 minutes, and then fades all that out and terminates the stream, which then you go into the Facebook app and just terminate the stream there. We have start and stop record and start and stop stream buttons. Now these are automatically triggered with the automation anyway, and you start stream normally when you put the stream key in the application, you can hit start within there, but you can also do it within here. And if you, I've made it so a button press does nothing. You actually have to hold it down for a short time. It turns yellow when it's connecting, and it will go red when it's actually connected. Same to turn it off. You hold it for about half a second or so. Stop macro button. This basically terminates the automation key. So when you press this, it actually has a little play icon, and this automation actually runs for 5 minutes. So if you technically went and did something else, it could still be trying to play the old sort of macros. Now it does terminate. It basically uses this button when at the start of when you're pressing these buttons, so you does see that it stops. But it's good practice to reset the state if you are just pressing it to test. It's always good just to hit stop macros once you finish your testing or whatever, so it's reset to a state where it's no longer running anything in the background, in case it does something that you're not intending. We also have I'll see how pressing that it set on air, which is what it was supposed to do, or it was trying to set it on air. And then we have a clock, which is the current time of the computer it's connected to. Once we press go to projector, or go to project, this is everything that is being sent to the projector. So this is kind of like that screen that it will now default to. You can choose to put the Pro Presenter, Apple TV, spare HDMI, or the ATEM Auxiliary 2, which is the program feed to the projector. Once again, the automations take care of this stuff, but if you manually need to switch to the Apple TV, for example, this is where you can do that. You also have options here to mute and unmute channels, but it will actually follow when you press these ones. The microphone automatically unmutes and opens up. It follows whatever channel you've selected, apart from an input 4 mic, which is always disabled because we never want to send the program feed of the live stream through the main PAs. That would be a feedback mess. And the PC mic, there's no way to mute it because we always want it open, but you can turn it on here if you need to. And we have a second auxiliary microphone or input we can turn on and off in the case that there's another device that needs to be connected to the mixer. Because the great thing with this is you basically have one output from all of this going into the mixer, which goes through the PC channel on the X32 mixer, and all of these actually gets routed to that one input on the mixer. So it's quite a good way of getting six inputs to the mixer, but on only using one channel. Lower thirds, so I've given them one entire button. We have access to all your lower thirds. So for example, when Tom might be preaching, when he's about to walk up to lectern or whatever, you can go into lower thirds, and then when he's in position you can hit that and it will display his name, so people know, or people that perhaps don't know who he is will now know who he is. I've also added camera 1 and camera 2 because if you ever get in this view and then you suddenly need to make a camera change, it's there to do so. Monitor, so these are basically the same as these buttons here, except it gives you full control of sending camera 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 to full screen. Once again, these will not affect what's going out to the stream itself, but only for your viewing, and multi-view and program also. Then we have playback and config button. So playback, this is something that is more useful for testing, or if you want to trigger the stream in a 100% manual way. This will turn your audio on and off, which is the main audio that is coming from the mixer of everything, and channel 2 that's just coming from play out B, which actually maybe I should rename that. There's play, pause, stop. This will play the 10-minute timer in slot 1, and this one here in slot 2 is the end music. So if you hit that, it will just start triggering the end music. You hit this one, it'll start triggering the timer, and we'll actually switch to it as the main view as well. Press this again, goes to the config menu. This here just takes you back to that home screen that is now set to by default. We have these two set up, which I haven't enabled yet, but hopefully we will in the future. And this really has been set up for the person who is mixing online audio. By pressing these buttons, you'll be able to solo and unsolo channel 17, 18, 20. The names will be updated automatically depending on the channel name. So 17 is bass, so that will actually say bass once connected to the mixer. And then this button here will unmute all the groups. So this here will not affect what's going to the stream, only to the headphones, because it's got its own bus. And then we have the reset buttons, which once again we haven't enabled, but these are more for situations where we have a problem where maybe the sound desk has gone a bit haywire or something's been accidentally routed somewhere else. Instead of reloading a scene, you can just hit these buttons and it will reset the what's being sent to the broadcast mixes. And I'll add some for the headphone mixes as well at some stage. So, oh yes, the last thing, a reset companion. This button here is just in case companion crashes and the buttons are just not responding like they should. One thing you could come along and do is restart companion and it will reboot it, and then within about 30 seconds you should hopefully be up and running again. That has never actually happened as far as I know, so hopefully that's never needed. Quick run through, we have camera screen, second option, auto run, to control what goes to projector, lower thirds, monitor, playback, config. So it's all pretty much the same, just a little bit more room for growth.